Hey guys, Nathan Brandon Masters, Breakfast Club Wednesdays. And today we got a lot to talk about. And I want to start off with, I saw a video Saturday, I believe that was, from Sword Sage. And he talked about the education system. And he was 100% right. And he's definitely on point as far as if you want to make America great again, it definitely starts with the education system. And it seems like the Trump administration talks about making America great again, but the one thing that he doesn't seem to want to do is actually put that into effect, because making America great again means having some really intelligent minds pushing the country forward. But we're not. Doesn't seem like we're really doing that with Betsy DeVos at the head. I don't know, that doesn't seem like we're heading in the right direction. But that brings me to what I want to talk about, which is I noticed that he talked about the things that the right were doing. So, you know, you have some states that want to push this kind of biblical idea of what, of, I guess, science, this biblical standpoint, and biblical and nationalistic idea of what the world is, particularly what America is and what we believe, et cetera, et cetera. But he didn't point out the stuff that the left was doing. And I think at this point we kind of agree, maybe we don't, but I think most people kind of look at it as the left actually run education, arts, and they're trying to run science. They actually run that stuff. And there is actually video on the internet of the left trying to push science out.
The coming question is, how do we even start to decolonize science? Because science is true because it is science. And, what can you do? And my response to that was, if I personally were committed to enforcing decolonization, science as a whole is a product of Western modernity, and the whole thing should be scratched off, especially in Africa. So if you want practical solutions to how to decolonize science, we'd have to restart science from, an African perspective, from our perspective of how we've experienced science. For instance, I had a question for all the science people is, there's a place in KZN, in Mkabialingana, and they believe that through the black magic, you call it black magic, they call it witchcraft, others, that you are able to send a lightning to strike someone.
Oh, baby, a triple! Oh, yeah!
Now, I'm not saying this just to be a contrarian. I'm saying this because it's true. We know that modern education tends to have to deal with feelings. It tends to deal with socializing people. You get to the higher education, and if you actually talk about, making it an intellectual space.
Then why the fuck did you accept the position?
Because
Who the fuck hired you?
I have a different
You
vision
should
than you.
step down. If that is what you think about being a master, you should step down. It is not about creating an intellectual space. It is not about creating an intellectual space. It is not about creating an intellectual space. Not. Do you understand that? It's about creating a home here.
Yes, it's true that people on the far right want there to be a religious ideology connected with education. But you have to understand why they do that. They do that because once you're educated that way, they can control you with the religious ideology. Religion doesn't become really, really bad until politics get involved. Now, on the left, they don't particularly have that need because they already have an ideology that they're socializing people into right now. It's only because of the internet and things like that that people are coming onto the internet and looking and hearing these different arguments. Back in the day, you did learn a lot of bull crap in your grammar school and in your high school, stuff like that. And in college, it was challenged because, you did have a lot of liberal people in college and they were challenging you, but you got to debate, you got to find facts, you got to attack back. You should be educating kids, not indoctrinating kids. You shouldn't be indoctrinating them into religion. You shouldn't be indoctrinating them into political ideology. Teach the kids something. Kids need to know things like, how to read. You might want to start with stuff like that. How to read, how to write, how to spell. Stuff that people should know. Math is always a good one. Stuff like that. Personally, I think at a young age, we need to start teaching kids about business and home economics, things like doing income tax, stuff like, stuff that's actually useful in real life, stuff that they don't really want to teach you because it'll help you in life. Nowadays, people are not as educated as they think they are. You have people coming out of college who think they're really, really smart, yet they can't take the basic person in a debate. There are people who have master's degrees, and they couldn't debate someone like me. I have a basic BA. And one thing that Source Sage brought up, and I completely agree with, is that people are not taught critical thinking nowadays. And both sides don't want you to know that. But the thing about it is, the side that seems to be the most angriest about critical thinking seems to be the left. The right don't like you, but the left will beat your ass. And that brings me to my next thing. So we talked about, is it okay to punch a Nazi? One of our Breakfast Club members, Bionic Dan, says, yes, beat the hell out of him. And Sister Danger says, no, it's not all right. And on this one, I'm going to side with Sister Danger. As badass as Bionic Dance is, with the biodance armor and the mech suits and the awesomeness, I'm going to disagree. And this is why. Because yesterday's liberals are today's Nazis. Yes, we can acknowledge that there are some people who are indeed Nazis and say that's what they believe in, 100%, that kind of ideology. The problem is there's some people that have absolutely nothing to do with Nazis, nothing to do with Nazism, and they're being called Nazis. Now let's look at this for a second. Let's check out BuzzFeed News. Now, on the internet, us who are trained in BuzzFeed know that BuzzFeed equals bullshit. We know that. But everybody else doesn't know that. And they don't see BuzzFeed like we see BuzzFeed. All they know is BuzzFeed is a news source. It's a left-leaning news source. So they're not going to go and check to see what Sergeant of Akkad says. They're not going to go check to see what Blair White says. They're not going to go see what these people are saying. Just a little bit ago, Jontron was said to be a Nazi. Now, much of the stuff that these people are talking about, a lot of us watching these videos actually agree with. So we would be called Nazis because we don't believe in a far left agenda. The problem with all of this is change. And what I mean by change is the fact that as time goes on, things change. And depending on what side of the aisle you're on, you'll like or dislike when that change is brought up. Republicans to this day, when they try to connect with black people, they say, oh, well, we're the party of Lincoln. No one gives a damn that you're the party of Lincoln. You do what you do today, and that's very different than what Lincoln did back in his day. I don't know that Lincoln had big corporations lining his pocket and telling him to do what they wanted him to do. I don't know that, okay? But I do know Republicans today, they have that. Just as many Democrats have that as well. This also takes me to things like feminism. Feminism has changed. It's very different than what it was in the beginning, and now it's about a lot of things that have absolutely nothing to do with female equality. There's a lot of things that some can argue have to do with female empowerment, which is fine. Sure, females, women should be empowered. Do your thing. But it's empowerment based on the idea that men are stopping you from doing things that anybody could do if they just did them. It's like if you just go out there, there's no, in filmmaking, we have there's no women behind the camera. Why? I mean, half the people who are saying this have a lot of money and could just make a movie. I make movies on like really small amounts of money. You're telling me you're a millionaire, a woman, and you're a millionaire and you can't make a movie? I'm calling bullshit on that. So these are things that we see. A lot of bitching and moaning about stuff that's really not particularly true, but it gets people riled up. So you see these changes. When we talk about Nazis, a lot of people are called Nazis and they're not that. They're not into that. They're not anywhere leaning that. Thunderfoot is known to be left. If he's going to air left. He's not going to air necessarily far left, but he's going to air left. Blair White, the transgender chick, she's a Nazi. They're letting transgender Nazis do their thing now. They're opening the doors, apparently. They're opening the floodgates to accept a few people, apparently. The media can dictate who is a Nazi or not. When I talk about people being able to get violent with people because of what they believe, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. The fact that we can say, okay, we know that person's a Nazi and it's okay to punch that person on the street. But where does it end? Because when the media starts telling you that these other people are Nazis, is it okay to punch those people on the street? At what point does someone like myself or people watching this video or any member of this group that may not be a far left person, at what point is it okay to punch us on the street? I'm just asking. Because yesterday's liberal is today's Nazi. Nathyn Brandon Masters, Breakfast Club Wednesdays. Tomorrow, Speak of the Devil, we're going to have Bionic Dance. You guys take it easy and awesome.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side.